Alison, can I start with you on this? Is it kind of naive to believe that this could happen? After all, there is political capital to be got from all of these issues, you know?
Yeah, in practice, I couldn't see it working. Like even if you go up around the Dáil, if you're meeting with TDs or if you're doing any kind of lobbying, there's a hierarchy. For even with, say, people on the same level. So you might ring one politician and ask for such and such, and they try their best, and you know that they're trying, and they can't get a thing. You ring another one, and blink of an eye, and it's done. So I just, at the end of the day, they're human. If you know, they want, that's the human kind of thing in people. They want to be top dog.
And it does bring up the subject, and we'll get to this later as well, that, you know, whenever something comes up on the show now, we're flooded with press releases claiming jurisdiction over whatever is happening. Yeah. And it's getting a bit of a joke at this point.
It is, and there's, say, politicians we all know that are worse than others. And, you know, they arrive at the opening of an envelope and they're taking credit for whatever is, you know, they don't seem to stand up when things fall apart and take credit for any of that, but they seem to be able to be maestros when there's a new development of houses.
And before I move on, are people fooled by that, do you think, Ross?
I don't think so anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah, they were, but now with, say, social media, with camera phones, things like that, there's a lot of people being caught out. You know, like people would say, I was at this event and they weren't at it at all. Like, look at Marion Gate, I suppose.
I know, yeah. Joe, as a former councillor yourself, what do you think of that?
I honestly believe it is, yeah. You know, like, the system that we have in this country, like, I suppose it's the same in the world over, really and truly. If you're in power and if you're part of the party that is in power, or parties that are in power, then you have the contact with the top table, and that's how things are done. And that is the reality, because it is right or wrong, that's how the system works. You see, that's one of the things, you see, because if the four of us here are four politicians, and if you're right away, and if you have your contact in power, and if you get something done, so once we write in a letter, we can claim it as well that it was done because it was delivered. Yes. You know what I mean? So it's not going to come back, or rarely does come back, that Mr. Fran Curry TD delivered this or delivered that. That rarely comes back. So we're after writing in letters, the three of us from three different parties. The item is delivered, or the thing, the jobs are announced. So we'll all claim credit for that we had input into it, you know. So it's what you call politics.
Yeah. Noel, your take on this would be what?
Yeah, I suppose again I'd agree with Joe. It's dreamland stuff to imagine, particularly at local level, all the politicians would work together on a project, because I've seen it at those quarters. There is serious competition between them and a race to get their announcement out first. I suppose ultimately at a local level, people judge politicians by their actions, and there's lots of talk, and it's easy talk and announce and criticise, but who actually does the legwork?
Senior civil servants. Yeah, they're who run the country. Yeah. The ministers, TDs, they're only the face. It's and like, we should be more like America, and when, you know, say...
Well, I'm not too sure about that.
No, well, I mean, in the sense that when the president goes, his backroom team go too.
Yeah.
We will never get rid of the rot until the whole thing is cleaned. And, you know, there is enough educated and well-got people there to actually get in and do it.
I come back to the old definition of a republic: government of the people, by the people, for the people. In this country, moving it on to a national stage, I mean, we do need politicians to work. I find it extraordinary that politicians are knocking heads together on the housing crisis, for instance. We are facing a major problem. A whole generation is being locked out, their lives put on hold. Climate justice is another one coming down the track that's going to change and challenge people's lives. And for those type of giant projects, greenways, for instance, there's more talk here in this town, Clonmel, and other towns about doing this, that and the other. And personally, I hear people getting fed up of the talk and the announcements. What they want to see is action on the ground.
And doesn't that bring us then to the old chestnut, Alison, that, you know, the TDs should be the legislators, the on-the-ground stuff should be the councillors doing that, you know?
Exactly, and there's enough councillors there, like, you know, and I suppose they're doing bits and pieces of that, but really their clout is probably quite limited. You know, they are getting quite substantially paid, and there just seems to be more knocking chops and talking, and But results are, and to be honest, you see it on councillors' pages online too. It's all, oh, I got this, and there's new lights here. I, did this, that, and the other. And I suppose that's become the nature of the being in not only in politics, but it's a pity because, and I suppose you need a neck to get into politics in the first place. But you do call a spade a spade.
Joe's smiling at that.
Sorry, Joe. You've no ambitions, have you? But then it seems to be it's all about the party or it's all about me, instead of it being about the actual, say, people of the country. And that seems to have, as Noel said earlier about the housing, they're all going in different directions. There's no, say, objective for them to come together, and they're giving it away to. They're not keeping it in-house.
And still, is there anybody that you would look to, Joe, and say they're getting it right? They know how to govern people. Is there anybody that you'd look to and say that they're doing it a lot better than we do it?
No, I don't think there is now, Fran. I wouldn't have researched that much anyway. But I think what you're ideally talking about really and truly is a national government, and But of course, that doesn't suit the people involved in the super parties.
We had opportunities for that.
We had, and that didn't happen either. So, and then you have people like that going out there and they'll canvass, and then when the election is over, oh, I'm not going into government with them, or I'm not doing this, and I'm not doing that. And it is the island, I suppose, that we are. It's the size of the place and whatever else. And I think come back to the local thing, the same people are voting for the TD are voting for the councillor. You know what I mean? So that's why the TDs they're out in the street, they're around, and they're trying to get the things done. And somebody will approach the TD, and the TD will take note of it, and they'll try and get in the act and get delivered. And it's all for votes, really and truly. At the end of the day, that's what it's for.
Right, but if our councillors had more power, if there was more autonomy with the council, would that not be better? Somewhere.
Yes, it's certainly worth a try, Fran, and it certainly should be. But then again, God help us, like some of the TDs that are there, you'd hate to see them as legislators in reality. God knows Almighty, we're bad enough as we are. But
I'd love to know what names are marinating around in your head at this point.
No, but really and truly, when you see some of it, and you're saying to yourself, what do you do? And I still believe that the system is the system, and I still earnestly believe that the decisions are made by the officials in all these departments and are just delivered out. You see all the different things they're fighting for, the likes of, St. Bridget's and Carrick, and the decision is made. We've been on there about mental health. We've met 3 different junior ministers in relation to mental health, but we the same officials of the same 3 junior ministers.
That's interesting, yeah.
And we have the same end result today as we had when we sat it out.
Right.